Hi, everyone, and welcome to Keep It Personal. Getting people to pay attention, understand your message, and take action has never been harder. This show is about what's working, how personalization, AI, and real human connection can help you reach people and drive action. Keep It Personal is brought to you by Personal, the personalized video software for busy teams who need more than automation. We combine flexibility, security, and expert guidance to help you turn attention into action. I'm your host, Josías De La Espada, CEO at Personal. Today, we are talking about one of the biggest challenges of 2026. Can AI actually make customer experience more human, or are we losing the empathy that made marketing powerful in the first place? To help us unpack this, I'm joined by Muss Haq. Hopefully, I'm pronouncing your name correctly. If not, please correct me in a moment. He's the author of The Year of AI and Customer Centricity, a guide to leveraging AI for customer centric innovation. He's also the founder of Josias, where he helps organizations humanize digital experiences through a people first philosophy. Moss has spent more than 20 years helping leading brands turn fragmented data into actionable strategies that drive loyalty, efficiency, and long term growth. He has developed frameworks that blend behavioral science, emotional intelligence, and AI, making complex ideas feel clear, practical, and deeply human. And I know that because I've been reading the book here on my phone. Moss, welcome to Keep It Personal. I'm really excited to have you here. Thank you.
Hi, Josias, and thank you for inviting me. I'm honored and appreciate it, and I'm really looking forward to this conversation.
Well, it's great to have you. So your book couldn't have come at a better time because everywhere I go, at least digitally, I hear the same thing. In my words, we have all the data and even AI tools in the world. Many of them have become cheaper for many organizations, regardless of the size, but customers still don't feel anything. So I would like to start there. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think there's pros and cons in with the new technologies coming on board, and like any other times, I have seen over the years when every time we've had new technology come in, how that's overtaken. And of course, given the current climate, how businesses are afraid of the economy and the fear of the unknown, which they don't have control over. So the only thing that they have control over, and more so that they want to do, is be cost efficient, cost effective.
Hmm.
And the first solution that they will run for is straight to a software or some technology that will help them be more efficient, more effective, and think that that will help them reduce the cost. But the impact of that is, yes, they might become a little bit more efficient and effective, and be able to engage with their customers. But the impact it has on their customers is so significant that, yes, one side they're kind of reducing the cost, but then they are creating that disconnect with their customers
Hmm.
because of that efficiency, because their efficiency is all technically designed. It is not designed around the customer or what the customer needs. So what happens is that disconnect causes churn. So they end up losing the customers because now that relationship that they did have, that human connection that they had, they've lost it.
Hmm.
So that's the biggest downfall of any new technology that comes in. And my career started off with data and data analytics, the foundation of marketing in that respect. And as much as I love marketing and I love behavioral science and consumer behavior and understanding what do customers do and why they do it through data, what I realized over the years is that customers have not changed in that respect over the last 20 years. They still want that human connection. They still want to feel valued. They still want to feel important. They still want to know that you care, and you value their time, their money, and them being loyal to you. And if they don't feel that, they will go. And this is the problem where you talk about tech and you talk about softwares bringing it in to resolve certain issues where
Hmm.
you're then moving away from what actually the customer wants. Yes, they want a seamless experience. They want
Hmm.
an amazing customer experience. And there are a lot of other companies out there who are doing it really well. But what's showing more so now is we are moving back towards that relationship marketing era where one to one was important. And in my last situation where I was in, um, the mindset was if we're going to go down to personalization and it's one to one marketing, why do we need segmentation? Why do we need data? Why do we, need to build any kind of personas in that respect? Because we're dealing
Hmm.
with one to one. And my comeback on that was that data is very important. Yes, there's going to be multiple segments that you have. And yes, you're only engaging with that one person to make it personal or hyper personal, but you still dealing with groups of people with similar attributes, similar views or values. And then all you're doing then is you're diversifying from those particular groups of individuals because don't even fit anymore in one segment.
Hmm.
You will fit in multiple segments in your data.
Hmm.
So yes, you come from a certain demographic. Yes, you have certain income value. Yes, you have certain, beliefs. But in each of those groups, you'll find that they will be similar on a certain attribute with multiple people from somewhere else. So then how do you speak in their tone? How do you speak in their language? And that's where data helps.
Hmm.
And unfortunately, people are running towards the tech, but they're not improving their data. And data is what drives the tech. And
Yeah.
the AI will only give you the benefit from that
Hmm.
if your data is right. If your data is flawed, if you have multiple systems elsewhere, your processes are flawed, your employees have data sat in silo departments, and there's no single customer view of that individual all into one place. And this is where AI does help to bring it all together. Then that you miss out on that true hyper personalization.
Hmm. Hmm.
And how have you found that?
Yeah. Yeah. So um, many marketing teams we deal with, for example, would say something in their words or in my words. We are automating everything that would be email campaigns or lifecycle communications from an SMS to an email, whatever channel they use and type of content, etc. But our customers still feel far. They are maybe not renewing. So we have, I don't know, 50,000 people here or 10,000 people here, whatever the audience is, but they are not taking the next step we are expecting them to take, maybe an insurance company with a renewal, for instance. And that's pretty normal. So with that as well, something I see is there is, I call it augmented buyer persona, which is you have your buyer persona or whatever applies in every situation, and you have data about these individuals, and even if these individuals are in buckets, in boxes, they still have a unique context. And in my view, when you combine both worlds, the data you have, well, the three worlds, the data you have, the who they are supposed to be, like that buyer persona, and the context you have, or you can somehow translate, or you have grasp based on experience working with similar people, etc. Then you have that augmented by your persona. You have a better understanding, and then you can use technology to engage with them to create maybe the messages or not for them. What I do think, if I got that right, that's why you also said at the beginning. I do think that teams do need those boxes, those buckets with that profile, because it helps the vast majority of average professionals know what to expect, or at least where to start. It's like a starting point, and from then, perhaps technology can help you go more granular. So Can you share um, an example of personalization that went wrong, and the opposite, great personalization that hasn't that is not invasive, that doesn't feel perhaps robotic?
Um, there's multiple examples of where it went wrong. I'd say um, when a company is creating a product
Hmm.
and the street, well, this, I'll give you a little scenario. So
Mhm.
the strategy team is building a strategy for the next 3 years. And the right way of doing it is look at your business, look at the data, look at what the customers are telling you, what they are doing, how they're doing it, and why they're doing it. And on the basis of that, you build your strategy of the next through 3 years. This is what I'm going to do.
Hmm.
While we were working around building that data, information, that insight for the strategy team, before we even got to providing that, they already made that decision of what they were going to do, their strategy for the next, 3, 4, or 5 years.
Hmm.
So that is a flaw because
Hmm.
again, you're building it on market research purely, you're building it on your competitor analysis purely, and you are avoiding or disconnected with your own customers and the relationship that you have and what they want from you and why they come to you.
Hmm.
So that is the biggest flaw in any organization if that's what they are doing.
Hmm.
So data is very important, and it's not just transactional data. You're looking at you combine everything from your social media, what the customers are saying about you,
Hmm.
not about your competitors, and then you combine that with the market research of what the market's saying around your industry, your services, your products. Then you're looking at what your employees are telling you, and that's the quickest and the cheapest way to get insight about how your business is working and what your customers are saying about you. And most of the companies ignore the employee feedback
Hmm.
and what they experience on the front line, whether it is your customer service or whether it is your shop front or floor, clients, employees. And when you're combining all that, and then you're deciding to build your strategy going forward for the 2026 onwards, that's when you know that you're making the right decisions. And I think that's most of the time where the organizations fall down, and then they are firefighting, and then them spending a lot more money and investment to make it right.
Hmm.
So get it right the first time.
That's a powerful reminder. So with that, or through that lens, then we see that personalization isn't just about knowing who someone is, which is the natural data, or the one most people, most companies, most organizations would have access to, but also understanding how they want to feel about something. And that's more like a dynamic context, because even the same person can go through different emotional stages and
Yep.
different objections, different needs throughout the journey, which I guess, I mean, it varies if or changes, like in terms of the length of that process, if we compare B2B and B2C. Have you seen, so if you had to guess, or based on your experience, do you see any difference, like notable difference between B2B teams versus B2C or B2B2C teams working in personalization and customer experience projects?
That's a really good question. And funny enough, um, one of my colleagues and a really good friend of mine, Stefan from Custom Institute, the president of Custom Institute, has been recently posting about this, about there's not much difference between B2B and B2C. And I believe that too. The approach, yes, there is the difference because B2C, you're dealing with one person. B2B, you're dealing with multiple people.
Hmm.
But overall, the foundation is that you're building a relationship, a connection
Hmm.
with that, whether it's a single individual or multiple individuals, but you have to engage with them. And people forget when they're wearing the business hat, that this is a potential client or a potential business, they forget this is another human being I'm talking to.
Hmm.
They also are customers for other things. So
Hmm.
their approach to engaging with you will be the same as you building a friendship, a relationship with someone, getting to know them, getting them to trust you and you to trust them, to build that, knowing that they were, you're there for them and you're not just there to make a quick buck and run off. You're there to help them to achieve their goals, which is no different from B2C. It's just that it takes a bit longer to build that relationship and to build
Hmm.
all the different connections around the B2B. But the approach isn't no different because we're all human beings.
Correct.
That
Yeah.
human connection, the human touch is important.
Hmm.
And it's understanding that you're there to not just sell a product. You're there to build a long-term relationship.
Okay. So in your book, for example, you reference I think it's the Bain study that says a 5% increase in retention can boost profits up to 95%. But you also connect that into something that I believe is deeper, which is people remember how you make them feel, not what you sell. And so basically, the way we think, um, in many, so the way teams think about messaging, about steps in a journey, about channels, etc., more often than not is a logical or not logical, like based on pure data. But often teams are leaving the emotional part behind, and that's usually when, for example, agencies sometimes have a different approach. They do take into account data, but they also have the context of the audience, sometimes through research, conversations, their tone, what are they expressing, maybe perhaps through social media channels and so on. But I wanted to know something from your perspective about something. Why do you think that emotional connection with audiences is still the ultimate driver of loyalty, when we are still or when we are even entering, or many teams are entering, uh, a super data driven world, when they are analyzing more information than ever before, when they are loading that information not only into their data warehouses but also tools like ChatGPT and so on. So why do you think that emotional connection is still, like a super driver for loyalty?
Starting off, I'll give you just one example, first
Hmm.
of all, and then I'll go into this. The two or three biggest successful companies out there are Disney, Nike, and to a certain point, if you think about, say, Harley Davidson
Hmm.
and Lego. Yeah, there you go. So there's multiple companies. What's the common thing about all of them?
They sell to consumers. They are big brands. They are driven by emotion. So Disney is storytelling. Nike uses the storytelling loads, for example, in their communications, although they have messed up quite, like, a lot, in recent years. Lego, it's all about emotions and remembering your past and so on. But maybe I'm not hitting the nail yet.
No, you're close. You're close. It's about building a community,
Okay.
building a base where everybody is part of a group, a part of a community. And human nature naturally is all about belonging and feeling part of something bigger than them, more
Hmm.
important, and they want to they want to be part of something that matters to them personally. Same with the charities. The only reason charities work, and I've worked for charities too, the only reason charities work because they resonate with something that they feel very strongly valuable, value for, that they want to be part of, to help,
Hmm.
and to engage, to make a difference into somebody else's life. So when you connect at an emotional level with your customers or clients, because you are a part of something bigger than just a product.
Hmm.
You are part of a value, a mission, a goal where you're making a difference in your life and in somebody else's life. You're being part of something. And football is like that. I'm
Hmm.
not really much into football, but I appreciate those who are very passionate because they are part of a big group. They are part of the same belief. They're part of the same goal. Yeah,
Hmm.
no pun intended. Um, so emotion is very, very important, and most of the customers, and I used to argue about this a lot and debate about this a lot in the banking and the financial industry, that customers are not purely rational.
Hmm.
So like Daniel Kahneman and says, like, you got your system one, system two thinking, and more majority of our decision making is emotionally driven. 90% of our decision making is emotionally driven. So if that is the case, why do we only design for the 10%? Why is it that we all think everybody's rational in their decision making? I mean, how many times have you gone in with a rational mindset, like I want to buy a car, or I'm going to go into the store and there's a sale on, and I just want to pick up this one thing, and then you're walking through the aisles, and then you suddenly see something and you think, oh, I'd love to get that, or
Hmm.
I'm sure I'm going to be looking really handsome if I wore that shirt, or
Hmm.
if I had, I'm going to attract, if I wear that aftershave or something. That's emotions, not rational thinking. And
Even
then
when
you go
buying
and buy
things
it.
like a car or even a house.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah.
You walk into a house. Why does somebody buy a house when they walk in? It feels like home. The person
Hmm.
that has made that decision, they have a budget, and then they've seen all the houses that they wanted to multiple times, and even though it's within their budget, they haven't bought it. But then they go and see a house which is slightly over their budget, but it feels like home.
Hmm.
And it's that emotion that drives them to say, fine, I'll pay that bit extra because I want that feeling. And
Hmm.
I've done that. Personal experiences. I've gone in to buy a car and I've ended up paying 20% more because I always wanted a blue car, and I paid that bit extra to
Hmm.
get it, even though that wasn't what I went for.
Hmm.
So emotion drives majority of our decision making out there, and companies need to see that our data is driven by emotions. If you can see the emotion behind the data, you
Hmm.
understand how your customers are thinking and feeling. And it's not just about sentiment analysis, because those are some words that some customers have shared with you. But what about those who don't share with you?
Hmm.
We ignore a lot of passive customer feedback because we think they're in the middle, they don't really matter, but they do. Whether you're a
Hmm.
promoter, you're a passive, you're a detractor, all their feedback matters. And I've deep dived into the data. I've split those customers up. I've had a look at their lifetime value by their different groups. I've looked at their activities. We've worked on creating churn models and predictive models based on those additional information that your metrics are showing your customers' emotions. And so
Hmm.
therefore, if you understand the emotions, you know how to engage with them.
That reminds me of something. So there is, we work with this organization, and they realize, since they are in the education field, that a strong, they have identified, I don't remember the number, but maybe five, six strong reasons why, in their case, students have like potential concerns, or five, six strong concerns about why they shouldn't study there, or anywhere. And one of them that just came to my mind was, or why they should actually, sorry, what they should, or something around that. But the point is that they used that information to create personalized videos for each contact, personalized emails, taking into account concerns, desires, goals, and also text messages and so on. And one of them that caught my attention was the fact that some of them were the first ones in their family going, for instance, to college, university, etc. And they used that information to populate, let's say, no, not the word, you are the first one going to college or whatever in your family, but to create, like to create the right messaging, the right feeling, etc., around that fact, connected also to other concerns and so on. And that alone, in my view, helped them increase. They had like a 18x return on their investment on that very first campaign. Uh, so that's actually really powerful. But I think at the same time, for most people, my brain is wired that way, but most people aren't. And from what you're saying, I believe yours is. So what? And in your book, actually, you have questions, um, sections for notes, prompts, etc., that help readers pause and feel instead of think. So I want you to share, or could you share, what are the questions, maybe one or two questions, teams leaders should have in their mind or share with their team, that could help them rediscover what really matters to their customers, even through the lens of their customers, so that they can use that information to better serve them, for instance, with their communications.
Yeah, so that was intentionally done. I mean, my book is not a standard book, it's a guide.
Hmm.
And yes, I talk about each and every topics. I've got about 20 chapters in there. And I try to make it very succinct and to the
Hmm.
point, with a few exercises or possibly questions to get the thoughts of that topic going in the teams, or whether it's the leadership, whoever's reading the book, to ask themselves these questions. How are we doing it? Are we customer focused? Are we delivering the experiences our customers want, or are we delivering experiences we think they want? How
Hmm.
well are we doing it? What kind of feedback are we looking at? And and also, more so for that, the culture that we're building around our organization, are we how are we impacting the customer at the end of the day with the culture that we have,
Hmm.
that we are embedding as a leader, as a senior member in the company. So I try to kind of create like food for thought, and get them to try to do internal views of how they can better in each of those steps across the customer journey. Now, there's a very famous, I think, quote that gets quoted a lot, that 80% of the organizations think they're doing a great job, um, you know, and in delivering customer experience. I think this has been a quote, and only 8% of the customers actually thought, said that they've actually delivered a
Ouch.
good experience. Yeah, so there's that misconception of what they think customer
Hmm.
experience is and what they're actually delivering. There's a big gap, and it's all about going back internally and having a look at how well are we doing what we're doing, and how well are we keeping the customer in our literally there when we're making those decisions, because majority of the companies don't do that. They're still very products. No, you're
Hmm.
running to AI, you're running to technology to sell more, but you're not improving your processes, your steps internally, your data. You're not mature enough to bring AI in. And this is what the book also talks about: is when are you ready for AI, and at what stages should you be doing it? 80 Forbes research, 85% of AI projects fail because they don't ask the right questions at the
Hmm.
beginning. And this is how I help in that book. I've got a checklist in there, I've got some strategy on a page, to help them understand, are they ready or not? Are they data
Hmm.
mature or not? Are they customer centric yet or not? And customer
Hmm.
centricity isn't just customer experience. Customer centricity is where you bring in your culture, you design your journey and your experiences around the customer's needs and wants. You've got your employee experience, you've got your customer experience, and deep dive into understanding the differences between your customers and what they want and why they come to you. And using behavioral science and emotional intelligence, teaching and training your employees, your people, of how to engage with your customers in an empathic way,
Hmm.
and then applying that data and insight to then continuously improve. And it's a loop, it's not a one-time thing.
Hmm. Now let's take this at a practical level. So, because I think listeners or viewers are in a tension between scale and even let's call it sincerity. So they want to humanize experiences. So that's it's appealing, but they have automation workflows, CRMs, thousands of contacts to manage. So in your book, for instance, you mentioned or you outline some of some great guiding principles. So you have user using data in an ethical way, giving customers control, avoid over personalization, which is a temptation. The fact that you have data doesn't mean that you have to use it. I believe you mentioned something like that earlier. And also train AI to recognize things like tone and emotion. If you had to start with just one of those tomorrow, which one would you make, or which one do you think would make the biggest impact, and why?
I think first of all is I still think is data and understanding that tone and emotion using AI. So AI
Hmm.
can help you become very efficient in understanding your customers and their emotions and their feelings. It won't become, I don't believe AI can replace human connection,
Hmm.
but it will help your employees become more educated around what your customers are thinking and feeling to then know how to engage with them. Yeah. You
Hmm.
can't replace human connection. And especially when you are, say, and as an example, you go on and you have an issue, the simplest one is, I just want some fact and information. So you can go to a chatbot which is fed with all your data and information, and they want a quick question, they found it, they go away. That's fine. But if I
Hmm.
have an issue and I want to engage with a human being because I want this resolved, and your chatbot is just looping because it doesn't understand your issue, which is personal to you, and it doesn't realize the emotions. And I've had this myself where I've had to get a little bit verbal with the chatbot to saying, send me to a human being. I want to talk to someone. I don't want to talk to you.
Yeah.
And that it frustrates the customer and loses that trust, loses that um, belief that you really matter or care as an organization for your customers.
Hmm.
So we need to understand that there's a limitation to where tech can take that relationship. 75% of customers still want human connection when there is an important issue. That's a
Hmm.
big number.
Hmm.
You can't replace human connection with AI.
Hmm.
You need that human connection.
Yeah. We saw something similar. Just side note, we used to have we removed it a chat in our website personal.com, and it was human powered basically, except the first interaction, which was there to prompt you to talk to the tool, or through the tool. What used to happen is that many people, especially last year, because we removed it at some point this year, they would they would chat with us, with a human, and they would say, can I talk to a human? And we would have to say, hey, I mean in my case, this is Josias, this is a real human. uh, uh, like want a video conference or something like that, that's perfectly fine, and so on. So basically, because we customers, consumers in general, people are getting used to being exposed to a machine instead of the to a human. because it's cheaper, scalable, and all those things. So I do believe that there are processes where the machine will help the will serve the person on the other side of the screen better. But there are many touch points that where that's going to cause friction, the negative type of friction. And I think that organizations are going too much into it without realizing that, like what is costing them, just measuring the financial impact in terms of saving cost, but not the that connection that a brand has with its audience in general. So
Agree.
that kind of balance, trying to basically between technology and amplifying humanity or that human connection instead of just replacing it through technology like AI. That's something we focus on a lot. Personal, even if with our service, clients create video landing pages, etc., all that automatically and at scale, but it is there to serve a strategy that should be there to serve a particular audience through the lens of specific goals. And that's something that in many conversations I at least try to reinforce that message with clients, especially at the beginning, because for many teams, regardless of the size of the organization, this is like totally new. They've heard about the tools but not about the strategy that is there, that should be there before the tools. The tools are there to support, should be there to support that
Yeah.
strategy, to amplify, to make it more efficient, etc. Now, to kind of wrap up, in your work you talk about, let me see if can say this word, operationalizing, making operations, um, like having like an empathy framework. That's those are my words, not yours. So how can organizations turn empathy into something that is built in the way they do, for instance, marketing, or in the way they do branding, or in the way they empower all the experiences through different channels, digital or non-digital channels?
I'll try and keep it very succinct because it's a very big topic that is on its own. But I just recently posted how to humanize or create a human first customer journey as
Hmm.
an example. Every single touch point is not just a click or a transaction.
Hmm.
It is what you, when you're creating those journeys and experiences. And when I say customer journeys, I don't mean product journeys, I don't mean process journeys. I mean literally you're looking at it through a customer's lens and
Hmm.
how the customer interacts with you, because the customer doesn't care multiple departments or multiple channels that you have. They just care about how they feel when they are interacting with you. So at
Hmm.
each touch point, even though you're creating, like, say, awareness or consideration or purchase stages, what should the customer be feeling at that moment in time? So start with the emotion, start with the feeling, and work back towards how you want to deliver that service or that touch point, or even a marketing campaign.
Hmm.
You want to be, it's not just about hey Muss or hey Josias. There's a lot more to, social proofing and using behavioral science or nudges in that respect. Or, we it's not about your product, it's about them. It's about
Hmm.
where what they're struggling with, and you understand and appreciate, and you have a solution that you're giving to them or providing them, and they need to know that you understand them. So, and again, it's all that emotion driven. So
Hmm.
whatever you design, whatever you create, whether it's a marketing campaign, it's your customer journey, it's your service staff at the end, where you've messed up at the beginning and your service staff is, helping retain that customer and resolve an issue, is how they engage, and they're not scripted. It's emotions and empathy that they create when they're engaging with the customer. So in every stage, there is a need for starting with the, well, how do I want my customers to feel when
Hmm.
they walk away? Because they will remember you, how you felt. Even if you didn't resolve the issue, but you tried your best and they know that you tried your best, they are very forgiving and they will still be loyal. But if
Hmm.
you said, sorry, it's our policy, or the computer's not letting me do this, then you're going to lose a customer.
Hmm. I think that's a powerful reset. So, if you could leave one question or challenge to every marketing and CX leader, for instance, listening right now, what would that be?
Good question. Um, where do you see yourself in the next 5 years without tech? And then design your strategy without the tech in mind, and then bring your tech in to enhance and empower you to deliver it. Don't
Hmm.
start with my solution is going to be tech. Start with how I'm going to engage and provide our service and solutions to our customers at the end. And then how can we do it better?
That's brilliant. So, do not start with the feature, but where you want to get,
Yeah.
and I guess walk your way backwards. So, I think if more teams ask that before launching a campaign, we would see personalization that really connects and helps customers, contacts, employees, etc., advance in their dynamic journeys, because journeys are dynamic, not just consuming campaigns. Moss, this has been such a refreshing conversation. Thank you for
Thank you for having
reminding
me.
us that technology should never replace empathy. It should help us express it at scale. How can people reach out to you?
You can connect me on LinkedIn, and I think that's the best way. Um, and it's Muss Haq on LinkedIn. And I look forward to, just say hello and let's speak. Let's not just do technical digital conversation like this. I would love to have a conversation with you.
Wonderful, wonderful. And Moss, you are very active also on LinkedIn, so I do follow you, and so almost every day, if I'm not mistaken, at least weekdays, you're publishing tips, ideas, and just I guess fractions of what we can learn, or what I'm actually learning from your book as well. So for everyone listening or watching us, you can find The Year of AI and Customer Centricity wherever you buy books. At least in my case, I found it in Amazon. So it's full of practical exercises. So what Moss says is actually true. It's like a guide, and also reflection prompts that make you stop and think differently about customers. If you want to learn how to apply these strategies, ideas with personalized video and automation that still feels human, visit personal.com/contact. Must thank you again for joining me. And
Thank
to
you
everyone
for having me.
on your side, remember, automation scales efficiency, empathy scales loyalty. See you next on
Oh,
Keep It Personal.
thank you.
Thank you.